Hello, and thanks for joining us for this short video on how to install Rainmaker wildlife escape ramps. These ramps not only help keep livestock tanks cleaner, they also reduce the unnecessary death toll of animals that find their way into troughs when looking for water. Since these ramps are made of polyethylene, you don't have to worry about rust, UV, or freezing issues. To begin with, we'll go over how to install ramps in standard aluminum, concrete, and plastic water troughs. After that, we'll take a look at installing ramps in the slightly more complicated tire troughs. If you received your ramp on a pallet, then it's ready to go. You may have received your ramp in a semi-collapsed condition. Now we've done this to save you money on shipping cost. Just snip the stretch wrap and let the ramp relax back into its original shape. Then run the zip tie through the two holes in the bottom. If your ramp came with the attachment straps folded down, just rotate them upward and install the bolts through the pre-drilled holes. These mounting straps essentially allow the ramp to hang on the edge of the tank. The advantage here is that you don't have to drill any holes in your trough, plus they also allow you to remove and relocate the ramp at any time. If you want to make your own straps, we use 1 inch wide, 1/8 inch thick aluminum flat bar, which is easy to bend, but it also holds its shape well. When it comes to bending the straps, there's two ways to go. You can place the ramp directly in the trough and then bend the straps over the edge. You can also use a pair of vice grips to help define the point where you want to make the bend. If the straps are very cold, then lightly heat the bending zone with a torch to warm it up. If you decide to attach the ramp directly to the trough, you can do so with bolts or zip ties. Zip ties work well because they are easy to remove and they allow for some movement if you have some winter freezing. I'd suggest black zip ties as they tend to be more UV tolerant. If it turns out that you need to trim the shell in order to get a good fit, you can easily do so with tin snips or a jigsaw. Just before you put the ramp into the trough, add some extra weight with a rock or a brick. This will give it some stability and keep it fully submerged. Now let's take a look at installing ramps into tire troughs. These are a bit trickier because of the different sizes and configurations. The most common challenge you'll have to deal with are the curves at the bottom. If you have water in the tire, of course it's going to be more difficult, but we'll do the best we can to get a good fit. Here's an example for fitting a ramp into a tire. After measuring the depth at 24 inches, you would think that a 24-inch ramp would work best, but it just might be that a 22-inch ramp will end up being easier and require less trimming. This is what a 24-inch ramp would look like if you placed it into the tire before trimming. You can see that the corners would keep it off the bottom about 4 inches. If we were to take a 24-inch ramp and carefully trim it to fit all of the contours of the tire in the previous slide, this is what it would look like. It's very possible that using a 22-inch ramp instead could be less work. You'll find that the easiest place to trim the ramp is on the back corner. Trimming the material off here will allow the ramp to drop lower into the tire. Once the top of the ramp is even with the top of the tire, your trimming should be about done. Check to make sure there isn't a gap in the backside for critters to sneak behind the ramp. You may have ended up with a gap underneath the ramp itself. This should be filled. A good material to use for this is some 2-inch thick square cement pavers found at a garden or hardware store. You can also use small tubular sandbags. If you haven't yet ordered your ramp, this example may help you determine the proper size. Here is a 24-inch ramp shown in a 24-inch deep tire. The ramp is sitting extra high because it's spanning across to the center section. Even though you could trim both the nose and the back corner of the ramp, it's tricky to get all that correct. It's much easier to order a smaller 22-inch ramp and then trim 2 inches off just the back corner. Yes, you may end up with a small gap underneath the ramp, but that can easily be filled with cement pavers or whatever's available. The good news is a 22-inch ramp is cheaper than a 24-inch size. One easy way to attach the ramp is to use this galvanized pipe hanger strap. Attach the strapping to the flange with a couple nuts and bolts, then run it over the top of the tire and screw it down. Strapping is easy to find at your local hardware store, or let us know when you're ordering your ramps and we'll include some at no charge. And, as we mentioned before, don't forget to add a rocker or brick for the extra weight. Well, that should just about do it. Hope we've answered all your questions. Give us a call anytime. We're always glad to hear from you.